Hi, my name's Tom Cheesewright, and I'm an applied futurist. I work with organisations around the world to help them to see what's next and build their response with innovation and agility. Today I want to talk to you about the Future Ready organisation, why now is the time for us to start to build for the future, build athletic organisations that are agile and ready. So many of us in our organisations throughout this pandemic have just been reacting, responding to the challenge, changing our infrastructure, our processes, our skills to try and keep things going, to survive. We need to break out of that moment. We need to take a choice now to think about what's next, to build something different so that we can go beyond surviving and thrive. Today I'm going to talk to you about how to build an athletic organisation with 3 top tips to change your organisation to be ready for the future. Take that choice today. We're working in an age of high frequency change. It's a new age, something different is happening. And we need to think differently and act differently as a result. For the last 50 years, business has been about optimization, about efficiency, about how can we do better tomorrow what we did yesterday, where better typically means doing the same things but for less or for greater profit. It's a successful strategy. It's been the foundation of so many of our greatest organisations, our big success stories. But it's limited. It doesn't work so well in an age where tomorrow what your customer wants might be something completely different to what they wanted yesterday. It doesn't work so well when the operating environment can change at a moment's notice. It doesn't work so well in this age of high frequency change. And that's the first thing we have to get to grips with. All those things we learned about how to run business, how to maximize success and growth, all those lessons about optimization are no longer current. We've got to relearn some things. And there's a foundational reason for that. Something that has changed our age, something that has disrupted our patterns, that's changed business forever. And it was happening before the pandemic. And it's down to technology. Technology has taken the friction out of our markets. Technology has accelerated our capabilities for innovation. It's empowered our creativity. It's allowed us to bring new things to market so much faster. The result is that things get disrupted now. What worked yesterday may not work tomorrow. Customers are constantly being exposed to new things and new ideas. And all of us have to keep up. The next few years are going to see even more change and innovation. We're on the cusp of massive impacts of new technologies, 5G, AI, IoT. These things are going to turn more markets upside down. The robots we're starting to see on the streets today are just the beginning of the robots in our workplace of tomorrow. I talk about now as this moment of choice, why we have to choose to make a change now, because it's so hard sometimes to get out of that period of panic. When the pandemic hit, actually most organisations did a phenomenal job. We can all be quite proud of ourselves at how we've reacted in business, the speed at which we transformed, the speed at which we equipped people with the skills and the technology and the connectivity to keep working, to keep going. And if you're here now, if your business is here now, you have survived. You've done an amazing job. But we can only keep going in that period of reactivity for so long. For me, one of the best illustrations of the process we've been through is Virginia Satir's change model. Originally created for family therapy, it's been adopted into the corporate world because it's such a useful illustration of what happens after that moment of impact as we've had with the pandemic, where we're on this path of progress and then things get turned upside down. And we spend this period surviving, reacting, trying to keep going until we get to that moment where we can take a choice and design something different and better for the future. I believe that's the moment we're in now. It's time to make that choice. But what do we do? What's next? What do we build? What do our organizations look like? What are we designing for? The best way I can explain this, the best way I can tell you what I do for my clients, is to give you an analogy. The future-ready organization, the organizations we need to build for tomorrow, for me, have the characteristics of great athletes. 3 characteristics in particular, 3 characteristics that separate the rest of us from the truly great athletes. Their form, they get in shape. They have the physique for the game they're playing, and that physique changes over time. They're in shape for the game they play today. Their senses, they're acute, they're sharp. They pull in information from across the game to see what's next. And their decision-making ability. With all that information, they take decisions fast. And if we can do those 3 things, we can build athletic, agile organizations that are fit for the future. Let me break those 3 things down in more detail. Start with that shape. What shape do our organizations need to be in to be athletic today? Well, it's not the shape we had to be in 20 years ago. 20 years ago, when our organizations were built to be optimal, when they were super lean, super focused, tightly integrated, really efficient at doing what they did, those organizations fail when the world gets turned upside down. They can't react fast because they're so focused on doing what they did efficiently. What we need instead is organizations that are adaptable. Organizations that are designed to be resilient and flexible and innovative. And we need to code that capability right into the DNA of the organization in its structure. Future-ready organizations don't look like these tightly integrated monoliths, they look like networks. Networks of functions that can be dynamically recombined to meet new challenges. Functions from inside the organization, functions from outside that come together like building blocks to build new things. And one organization perhaps exemplifies this. One organization's success in many ways can be put down to recognizing this fact early. Back in the early 2000s, the chief exec of Amazon famously sent out a memo to all the people in the organization and said, "Stop talking to each other. We don't want to be a tight, lean organization like the ones of the past. We want to be a network. I want to wrap every function of our organization in a layer of software that allows us to plug and play, to pull it apart and rebuild it to build new things. I want every function of our organization to be in conversation with the customer, to be able to dive in, see what it does and use those capabilities for themselves. I want to be able to pull it off the shelf and use it." And they wrapped a function of their organization, now called Amazon Web Services, in this layer of software that allowed it to say to the world, "Hey, this is what I do. This is what I can do for you, and plug me into your business." Building one of the largest cloud hosting companies in the world and the driver of Amazon's profits for many years. Amazon's success is in large part because it has this resilient, flexible, networked structure. And more organizations are going down that route now. They're looking at their structure and saying, actually, I don't want to be tight and focused on this one thing that we do today. I want this sort of set of building blocks that I can assemble to meet new challenges tomorrow. And that is the structure we have to build for all our organizations if we want to build this agility, this adaptability for the future. Networks of components, not monoliths, focused on a single goal. The next trait we have to develop in our organization is enhanced senses. Our organizations need to be able to look to the future, need to be able to see what's coming, just like the greatest athletes do. Just think about the greatest footballers. The best ones aren't the ones with the best ball control, looking at their feet. They're the ones who can get their heads up and look ahead and read the game and see what's coming first. Make that 40-yard pass out to the winger before he even starts to run. And that's what we need to be able to do. Now, it's hard. We're so busy, we're so focused on today that to get your head up and out of that and look to the future is difficult. But this is my challenge to you. Can you carve out 1% of your time to focus on the future? One day every 6 months that translates to. One day every 6 months where you are focused on what's next, not what's now. And do so in a structured way. And the way I do this is really simple. It's just about asking 2 questions. Start by speaking to your colleagues and your customers and your partners and ask them this: what frustrates you? What winds you up? What stops you being as productive as you could be? You'll get a load of answers because it's cathartic. People like to get these things off their chests. You'll learn a lot. And what you'll find are what I call pressure points, the cracks that exist in your organization. These cracks are where the greatest change is going to come. Now put that to one side, put your pressure points to one side and go and ask a different question. Go and look at the organizations that are making the greatest change in the world. Go and look at the industries that are adjacent to yours but maybe not quite the same. Go and pick up the pitch deck from the hottest startup or the annual report from the most successful businesses. Go and read the business pages, but really read them and look for trends. They could be in technology, in AI and 5G, automation. They could be in the economy or behavior or culture. But what you want to see is what's coming, what's next. Now go back to your pressure points and compare those incoming trends with those existing pressure points and look at how one is going to influence the other. If you're already struggling to meet customer demand, how are you going to keep up when that demand accelerates, when they expect an even more frictionless experience? If you're already struggling under the burden of administration, could AI help? These intersections between the incoming trends and the existing pressure points where the greatest change will come. Now you may end up with a big list, but I want you to filter, focus it down to 5 by asking this simple question: if every one of those intersections, could it turn my business upside down? Is this an existential threat or opportunity? Only focus on those for which the answer to that question is yes. Get yourself a list of 5. Deal with those issues over the subsequent 6 months and then repeat the process over again. The last of these 3 athletic traits that we need our organizations to develop is the ability to take decisions fast. It's no good seeing what's coming if you can't move out of the way or step in to capture that opportunity. Now there's lots of different ways to do this. And most organizations have looked at data, big data, data lakes, data analytics. How can we bring in more information? How can we accelerate the flow of that information through the organization? How can we present that information better in a way that compels people to act? These are all incredibly valuable things. They are worth investing in. But there's something else you can do that's almost certainly harder, but almost certainly more effective as well. Because right now, we're in a culture of centralization. So many of our big decisions are just pushed up and up and up the chain to the people at the center of the organization. And only they make those big decisions. And the result is that those decisions are slow. They have to move through multiple people. Those people at the center are overloaded. They cannot take the decisions at enough of a rate to make the organization agile. So we've got to distribute that power. We've got to start to push that power out towards the edges of the organization. We've got to delegate. We've got to give people at the edges of the organization these broader capabilities, autonomy and responsibility. Give them the chance to act, the capability to act. If you push power to the edges of the organization so that the people there can respond to what's coming in, you don't need to waste time with that information flowing through the organization. You don't need to wait on those people at the center to take those decisions. It's incredibly, incredibly powerful. And you look at the organizations that have thrived through this crisis. They've been the ones that took decisions fast. The ones that maybe didn't have any better foresight than the rest of us, but saw the opportunity early and acted radically to take advantage. You look at the The restaurants around the corner from here where I am now, a Michelin-starred restaurant who recognised they weren't going to have any people in the door anytime soon, so started doing super high quality meal boxes delivered to your door. Look at the grocery delivery companies in France and Germany like Loop, who saw this opportunity. People are going to need this and ramped up their capabilities to fulfill that need. Around the world, organisations saw the threat but also saw the opportunity. And the ones we're talking about now, the ones we've become passionate about during this pandemic, are the ones who acted fast. Now's the time to make a change. Now is the time to choose to build for the future. We've spent a long time reacting. We need to stop doing that. We need to get proactive and start to build and design future-ready organisations if we're going to go beyond surviving and thrive. For me, the best analogy, the best description for those organisations, those future-ready businesses, is that they are athletic. They have these three traits. First of all, think about the shape of our organisation. Do we want to be a tightly focused monolith, only optimised to do one thing? Or do we want to be a creative, collaborative network of components, partners, units, functions that can be dynamically reassembled to meet new challenges, that can bring in new skills and capabilities as required because we're open and open-minded? They have sharpened senses. They are acute to the markets, to customers, and to the trends that are coming that are going to turn our worlds upside down. And they take decisions fast based on the information that they see. You know, our worlds have already changed. Our worlds were changing due to high frequency change back before the pandemic. And through the pandemic, so much of the change that was coming has been accelerated. Hybrid work was coming. It's here now. All this shift to increasingly digital interaction, it was coming, it's here now. Automation, robot delivery, used by the likes of Co-op in the UK and elsewhere, it's here now. So the question is, what's next? We've got to take that decision and build for the future, because success in the future is going to be all about resilience, all about innovation. And those things come when we come together, when we get together around a table with a piece of paper and communicate and share ideas, when we can collaborate and build new things. The next few years are going to see continuing advances in those technologies that have stripped friction from our world and created this age of high frequency change. In 10 years' time, we're probably going to spend 10 hours a day in mixed reality, living in a world where the digital is permanently overlaid in the physical, where photorealistic people interact with us as if they were there. But I can tell you now, even in 10 years, it won't be quite like they are there. The bandwidth of being there together is unbeatable. And we have to create the spaces and the opportunities and give people the tools to come together in creativity. Only then can we build these truly athletic organisations that are fit for the future. Thank you for watching. I hope you found my 3 top tips on how to build an athletic organisation useful. For information about how Canon can help you to make the right choices now for your digital transformation journey, please click on the links below.